Alrighty, guys. Couple updates. The first one, we did get a 10Q today, and it says as of August 10th, which is Wednesday, total common stock issued is 509 million shares. Technically, this means that they have touched into the newly authorized shares by roughly 9 million shares, because they only had 500 million common stock before then. If you look at what's been announced in that 10Q, basically institutionals were buying. There's over, I think it's like 25 to 30 million shares owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and all these other people, which is most likely due to the Russell 2000 or 3000. They're finally adding those shares to the Russell. I believe that the short squeeze is coming. Again, I am sending a cease and desist. It should be out by Monday. I'm really hoping that cease and desist makes them really question whether they're willing to dilute any more of these newly authorized shares. And if they don't, if they read the cease and desist and they're like, crap, we shouldn't sell anymore, the squeeze could happen next week. Looking at everything that's happening in the market, typically when a squeeze happens, they try to squeeze everything at the same time and make the market just crazy as possible. So it's looking like, based off everything that I see, that not this week coming up, but the week following, with the AMC ape dividend, BBIG should be not halted anymore. There's several things that are happening in the market where it looks like August 22nd, that week, is going to be the squeeze week. And I got a feeling this next week is going to be bloody red for the entire market. Probably 10% down on the indexes by the end of the week. And MULN will probably drop 10 to 20%. Maybe hit a low of 76, 72. And then the week after, I expect to squeeze. But again, that cease and desist could cause us to squeeze next week. It is possible. So let's cross our fingers for that one. And somebody asked me why I want to sue MULN. The very basis of the lawsuit, the largest complaint of the lawsuit, is that David Mishry incited retail to buy his stock. He tweeted out short squeeze on MULN. If you watch the interviews and everything through March and everything, he never really stopped pushing his stock and all that good stuff. And retail has owned the stock since March 14th. We got the announcement that retail has owned anywhere between 70 to 80% of the stock since March 14th and beyond. And there was a small little window where between the end of May and early June that they loaded up a bunch of the shares that they hadn't diluted yet and gave them to themselves, because they were given to nobody yet. They weren't considered outstanding shares, and they gave them to themselves, so they were outstanding shares, so that they could have the vote for the July 26th vote and add the extra 1.75 billion shares of dilution. It is my belief that that is illegal. It is my belief that they incited retail to buy, also that they could rug pull retail. And if you just think, like, a lot of people call MULN the Tesla killer because MULN's battery is twice as good as Tesla's battery on a single charge, 600 miles versus 300 miles. But more importantly, equally importantly, Tesla's battery can only do a recharge of somewhere between like 500 to 1,000 times. So it's only expected to last roughly 10 years if you're charging once a week. And MULN's battery is projected between 2,000 to 10,000 charges per lifetime, which ends up being anywhere between 30 to 100 years of potential lifespan. And so they call it the Tesla killer because it's just an EV car. It's a nice EV car, but it's got all the upgrades that Tesla and every other EV company, they're going to have to come up with some type of upgrade of their own to compete with MULN. And basically everybody that currently owns an EV car is going to have to buy a new one. If they, like, people that buy EV cars, they're typically wealthy, And when a better model comes out, when a better version comes out, they're going to want the new stuff. And so everyone's going to be going out looking for a new EV car. And when they do, MULN's going to be ready to offer the best thing out there. And so when they added this 1.75 billion shares of dilution, they cut your 80 to 90% ownership of MULN down to 20% ownership of MULN for the long-term value. Now, they may still give us a squeeze, but that squeeze is nothing compared to what the Tesla value that we could have gotten. So if we run to, let's just say, $100 billion market cap in the next 2 years, 3 years, anyone that is a long-term holder is going to get robbed of 60 to 70 to 80% of their value due to this dilution. And it will go, like, wherever it goes, it's not like it should have gone 5 times higher without this dilution. So ultimately we are suing so that we can have back those 1.75 billion shares. Whoever participates in my lawsuit, what I'm going to be suing for is that those extra 1.75 billion shares get split up between me and everybody inside my lawsuit proportionally to what they've invested into MULN, and take back our ownership of MULN. It appears also likely that I will be adding on the next MULN vote, which could be like 3 months from now, that I want to be CEO of MULN, and I'm going to put my name on the list, and we'll see what happens. But that is my update. 2 weeks for MULN to squeeze, if we're lucky, next week. If it doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks and we get lots of volume and all that good stuff, it's safe to say that they're heavily diluting into the new shares, and that does not look good. And so the next actions that we'll be looking for is a preliminary injunction, which could take 2, 3, 4 weeks to get done, because we got to finish the complaint. And when we go to preliminary injunction, we're going to ask the judge to force the cease and desist onto MULN Automotive and not give them the ability to dilute any of the new shares. If that happens, the squeeze is guaranteed. It'll happen almost instantly. It might take a couple days of a little bit of buying power, but it will squeeze hard and fast, and it'll be beautiful. And then, yeah, I mean, that's basically where we're at right now. So we just got to take this one day at a time, people. Good luck.